Okay, so quickly, so we initially project PIs, we all expect that the survey has already been done in the chosen villages according to the UBA requirements. But in addition, we found that in solid waste management, some of the valid data which is required is not part of the current list of questions in your survey form. So we would like the PIs to go and do some first-hand on-site in your village, a survey on what is the solid waste management practices in the village. So before you even start thinking about the proposal, then the first-hand on-site, with that we can look at what are the technology innovations, lessons to be learned, what are the previous adopted measures in the village, and what are the gaps, and then we can come up with proposals. And I'll be talking about the I won't say bad project ideas here, but the proposals which can be successful and which cannot be successful based on our previous experiences. And then we are going to talk about the new idea for a collective impact, which we can all propose together this time. So first-hand on-site research, some of the missing data in the survey, quickly before submitting the proposal, if the student team from the PI, each of the participating institutes, can go and visit and have a first-hand information about the waste streams in the village, different waste streams, and the approximate quantities generated. You can talk to the collection. Every village has a collection person who goes around collecting, or a team, depending upon the size of the village. So we can get first-hand information on how much of the waste is generated, and is it properly handled or not? Where is it disposed? If it is collected, where is it disposed? Is there a centralized waste segregation facility, or everything is just dumped in one place? Most of the cases, that's what we are seeing in villages, except for the organics. Organics go to cattle feed and other, it gets biodegraded even if it is disposed in the pits. Whereas inorganics are the biggest problem, the dry waste. So we want you to understand what is the situation of the village, and also how much of area is available. Do they already have a waste processing collection center, or in case we need, how much of land area is required for us, okay, if we want to set up something. And also, if possible, we can find out what is the current impact of mismanaged solid waste. This is a small uh, class project. You can give it to the students, to find out what is the methane generation from waste. There are tools available. So we can have just a basic baseline data, will include waste, area allotted for the waste, quantum of waste, and what is the current environmental impact of the mismanaged waste. That will be a good starting point. And then we can look at how much budget is required, manpower is required, if we want to come up with a proposal. Okay, and we all know that UBA funds are limited, and we have to look at other, like work with the panchayat to tap the government funds. There are many schemes available within the government which we can successfully use. That is one way of doing it. Otherwise, we can see how we can manage with the UBA funds, what kind of a proposal which will fit into the UBA funds. And then ideally, the project should be on successful, not just end at the end of 1 year and when the funds are expended, but it has to be self-sustained. Okay, the models or the proposals which can be innovative enough to we can get products out of your solid waste management schemes which can be sold, and there can be a successful business model. We can identify, it can be a small entrepreneurship idea, local village entrepreneurs can take this up if there is a market available for the segregated waste or products from the waste. They can come up with innovative products from the waste. Okay, so these are the some we have come up with some examples of successful resource recovery from waste and how can we build a good business model like biogas. People have been using it for a long time. And if for a larger village, these are for larger panchayats, if there is significant amount of food which can generate a lot of food waste, then there is a opportunity. Or if there is a lot of cattle in the village, depending upon the size, biogas is one option which can be marketed and that can be a steady income. That is one example. Okay, but in coming up with the unsuccessful proposals, so from our experience, they have seen proposals which were just based on lab related work. People have done something in the lab and they have tried to come up with extend it to the village. It may not be applicable in the real world. Many people have come up with app-based collection system. Again, in a village, people may not have smartphones to implement this. The collecting agents will not be having smartphones. So we have seen proposals like this, app-based collection system, solar-powered sanitizer dispenser with mobile app to alert the status of consumption, robotic waste collection bin powered by IoT. These are all too high tech. We know that people in the village may not be able to, or even if these systems are set up, if it breaks down, it may be very difficult to fix it and continue. The continuity will be lost. So I think we should avoid these type of proposals. And we have not been funding if these proposals are coming up. And also there should be, being a college with the knowledge, the PIs and the students and the faculty, I think we should be able to contribute some of our technology in the waste management. Many proposals are just coming up with using the money to install a sanitary napkin incinerator, which is of course very harmful. Incinerators are now banned across the country. There are proposals where you can just put an RO plant. So all these, it's just buying and installing, which is not the goes along with the spirit of UBA, right? So these kind of just in one-time installation is not a good proposal. And also look at proposals which can be feasible to be completed within the duration, okay, within 1 or 1.5 years. So, and also look at like treatment plant for the entire village. In terms of financially, it is not feasible, and also timeline also it is not feasible according to the UPA. At least you should have, even if you are initiating something, you have to make sure that there is enough funds and somebody else is going to follow up after that 1.5 years period to continue the process. Otherwise, it was just going to be a half-baked solution and there will be no impact. Same thing with individual houses, biogas for individual house, biogas soak pits for individual house. These are not acceptable because it is just for one house and it is not a village level. That doesn't make an impact at the village level. Okay, so and then yeah, fund also, as I told you, time scale and also the impact scale and the financial scale should be fitting our UBA norms. Okay, so rejuvenation of a water pond is something which comes up, but we all know that 1 lakh is not sufficient unless we handhold the panchayat and get more money and then help them execute it. So these are all proposals which are not going to last up to completion. Okay. So many of them have just proposed awareness program, okay, or just data assessment tools, okay, menstrual hygiene awareness programs. Again, these are not acceptable from the UBA point of view. So what are the project ideas which have been successful? I'll come to that. So smart vending machine for recyclables, that is something which has been recyclable in the sense plastics which are now being disposed or burnt, can it be collected in a vending machine? Okay, like a pet bottle vending machines are, you can just deposit it and get some money back. So that helps the panchayat to segregate the waste. So those have been accepted. Value added products from flowers like doop sticks and agarbattis. That again is a, as I told you, resource recovery type of a project where it is self-sustained and there is a livelihood opportunity for the local women or people who want to take this up. Eco-friendly flower pot using cow dung and agricultural waste, locally available materials, and it has a market in the towns. So that is again a self-sustained model, keeping in mind the circular economy concept. Banana stem to barley peat, dehydrated powder. People have also made banana fibers to sanitary napkins. So those kind of projects again are waste to wealth kind of projects which have been successful. Eco-friendly carry bags from agri-waste. People have also come up with cutlery from agri-waste. Okay, there are a lot of entrepreneurial ideas which can be very successful and it can create an impact. Vermi wash, using vermicomposting as a natural pesticide, converting, doing vermicomposting and then also creating a pesticide from that. Okay, so these are all successful projects. Last year, about 10 projects have been funded, waste to wealth. Most of them are waste to wealth projects. Okay, but again, the point is people are doing this across the country in different projects in a very small way, and we are not seeing this scale up, okay, to create a larger impact. So we looked at several surveys in the villages, how waste is managed in the villages, and what are the common issues. Okay, the common issue is the dry waste or the inorganic waste, which people don't know how to, because the quantum generated in a small in a village is small relatively compared to a town or a city, and there is no collection mechanism from the village to the town where they have a proper landfill facility or a cement plant. So these plastic waste can go to a cement plant, paper waste can go to a paper making industry, pulp for making the pulp again. But since villages are too far away, this logistics of transportation is not working. So people just tend to put it in a corner outside the village and after some time just burn it. Okay, and we all know the impact of burning of waste, which is very harmful for the plants also, not only humans. Deposits of soot can affect the crop yield, and there are several animals also can be impacted. Water bodies can be impacted from the runoff. So there are lots of issues with burning. So, and we are not getting anything back. So there is a new concept called garbage bank, which we came across a year ago, successfully being done in one of the small towns in Tamil Nadu. So as you see, but this is the idea itself can, the name itself can give you what it is. It is a bank where you can deposit your garbage and get money returns out of it, like an interest. Okay, so what we are proposing this time is to have a collective impact.
Litter on the street always. People might not throw their garbage on the street if they
So
could
we
get
will
money for
play
it
a
instead.
small video.
And that's how the idea for the garbage bank was born.
In 3 years, we separated and recycled nearly 150,000 kilos of garbage. In 3 years, we separated and recycled nearly 150,000 kilos of garbage before
Just
it got
pause for
taken
a
to the
minute.
dump and got incinerated.
I hope you were able to see the video. Yeah. So I think we'll play it from the first. This is about the garbage bank idea, which has been successfully implemented. And this is what we want to propose to all the PIs. We will show the video and then we can have a presentation on what we are expecting as a proposal. And then we can have a discussion. Okay. So yeah, we'll play the video again.
Litter on the street always infuriated Malarvari Muthu and her daughter-in-law Rajavalli Rajiv. They thought that people might not throw their garbage on the street if they could get money for it instead. And that's how the idea for the garbage bank was born. Get money for it instead. And that's how the idea for the garbage bank was born.
In 3 years, we separated and recycled nearly 150,000 kilos of garbage before it got taken to the dump and got incinerated.
The women pay 6 rupees, that's 7 euro cents, for a kilo of waste. They buy plastic bags, paper, cardboard, clothing, all materials that their recycling partners can process later. The customers don't even have to drop their waste off at the garbage bank themselves. The project's 8 employees collect the separated waste from some 700 households in Virudunagar.
Initially, we didn't separate our garbage and it littered our streets. But we followed the project's advice and started handing in our garbage. Now we separate paper, plastics, cardboard boxes, and our garbage is collected every Friday. So far, we have handed in 240 kilos. I got a receipt, and once it reaches 300 kilos, with an extra amount, I'll be paid 3,000 rupees.
The two entrepreneurs have divided Virudunagar into 6 collection zones. Once the waste has been picked up from customers across the town and taken to the garbage bank, it's properly sorted.
Plastic, paper, carton boxes.
Apart from separating garbage into plastics, papers, cardboard boxes, and metals, the garbage bank also separates 66 other types of waste. To take a juice packet as an example, we separate it into outside wrapper, the inside aluminium foil, and the straw. Recyclers pay good money for separated garbage, and that means we can make our customers happy by giving them better value for their garbage.
The garbage bank has already paid out over 200,000 rupees for trash. Its founders hope they'll inspire similar projects.
More people should step up and do this sort of thing. If my mother-in-law and I could do it in this small area, others who worry about
Waste recycling can be a profitable business. Not only does the cash for trash model help protect the environment, it also contributes to a circular economy.
Yeah, I think you have got an idea about the garbage bank. Okay, so we have had a session, a workshop by this Mrs. Rajavalli, who initiated it. Yes, it's brilliant because we all know we can make waste, wealth from waste, but most often it is only the PET bottles which are getting picked up. or it can be just the some of the products which immediately has a recycle value is what we get money. Even from our own homes, the chips packet and the thin plastics and other things, many of them are not picked up by the kabadiwalas when we go for disposing it. And often it ends up in the landfill, or some people just dispose it, collection people just dispose it into water bodies. Okay, so in order to, the concept here developed by Mrs. Rajavalli is anything has a value. Anything can get you money. That is what they are propagating. As long as it is segregated and collected in your own homes, you can have like mini collection centers. As long as it is clean and dry, it's not going to create a smell or anything, right? So if you, all these dry waste, if they can be accumulated at homes and brought to these centers or given to some collection agent who is going to come, depending, if it is a large panchayat, we can have people, employ people that will add to the cost. But otherwise, people can come and deposit in a centralized place. Instead, in a small village, people can come and deposit in a centralized place, and they get money for every piece of garbage they are going to deposit. Large enough quantity. That is the concept in which they are working. Okay, and they have been successful, and all the waste finds a place, finds a market. No, she says even chips packet, there are people to buy it, provided it is of, in terms of kgs. No, so you need a centralized place to accumulate these segregated garbage until a significant amount has reached, so that it can go for a to the market. The person who's going to come and pick it up can give more value, and that value is returned back to the customer. So they keep an accounting mechanism. They don't give money every day. So they keep an accounting mechanism of how much garbage, of what type of garbage is being deposited. And at the end of the month, when they get paid, recycler or the vendor, they share the money to all the people who have deposited. So I think if this can be done across the country through the UBA scheme, just one little town, they were able to collect, you heard the numbers, right? Some 300,000 tons, 300,000 kgs, okay, in a year, they were able to collect. So imagine the impact we can create, and it doesn't involve a lot of technology or continuous monitoring. Okay, so you need to have create a setup where segregated garbage can be collected. So this is the idea we want to promote. It can come within the cost of the UBA funding, or for larger panchayats, I think the panchayat can pitch in. The panchayat can also get some returns for the land they are giving, for the shed facility they will be creating. Okay, so they can also be partners. So they will get involved and they will continue the effort after the PI leaves. Okay, so this garbage bank proposal is something we are trying to promote. So collectively, we can all together make a large impact in terms of how much plastic waste has been collected, how much has been sold, what is the carbon footprint reduction each of us have contributed by collecting this waste and not putting it in the dump or sending it for incineration. So I'll stop here, and I will ask my colleague Bindu to share a little more detail on what is it. Any quick questions at this point? We are going to talk about, if you are interested in submitting a proposal, we would like to encourage proposals in this particular area this year. So collectively, we can all work together and share our experiences. So if you have any quick questions, or do you want to wait till we finish the details of how and what? I think we'll, in 5 minutes, can you finish the presentation? Then most of your questions probably will be answered in that presentation, and then we can take questions. Okay. Yeah, it will be done in like 5 to 10 minutes. So, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You would have understood by now, with your past experiences from UBA proposals and other proposals that you had been working with, unless there is an economic value for any of the projects that you're working on ground reality can be very much different. And most of the projects that were sanctioned through other projects and through UBA as well were not successful for this very same reason, because we perceive one idea, we take it to the ground, and we hand it over, and the sustainability part of it would not be happening. That's because there would be O&M involved. They would require money to keep that project running, which they might not have. So any project that we perceive should not only be sustainable in terms of environmental perspectives, but also in terms of economic perspectives. So garbage bank is one such proposal that can be taken up, and which uh, does not need much of investment, but has a potential for good return on investment. And the other point over here is, while nature can take care of the organic waste, it's always the dry waste and the plastic waste that panchayats are struggling with. So this is the potential proposal that is being through Ministry of Jal Shakti and Swachh Bharat Mission as well as priority project be taken up with UBA as well, and collectively with establishment of garbage banks across India. Even though this is a successful revenue model, one shoe will not fit all, right? It's the same with this proposal as well. With the leverage that we have with UBA, the timelines and the funding, there are some constraints, pros and cons. Yeah. So three things that you have to keep in mind while thinking if you have to implement this project in your adopted villages, you have to look at the village profile. If it is too big, if it generates 10 tons per day, then it's out of our scope, right? It requires a lot of management, lot of resources to handle it. So at this point of time, as a pilot project, we cannot take this. So hold that idea. Current management system, we cannot build from the scratch. So it has to have some basic infrastructure, collection mechanism, door-to-door collection, and some kind of reasonable segregation in place. And the concurrence by the panchayat. If all that we need for this project is a storage shed to store recyclables until we pile up enough volume to be picked up by the recycler. So if is panchayat ready to lend us a storage shed, or if it doesn't have a storage shed as of now, is it willing to allocate some land and resources to build one? So let's look into those aspects. So as I was saying, village profiling. Most of the time when proposals are submitted for UBA, only after getting the acceptance from our end, you are venturing into the village and getting the village profiling done. It should be the other way. You should check the suitability of this project on first-hand basis. So you have to venture into the village, have a look at the population and the waste generation points, how much is the waste generated in a month, what are the sources of waste generation, what is the composition of wet and dry, and if there is any existing collection system in place. If yes, how much is the segregation that is happening? And infrastructure assessment, if it has any composting yard, if it has storage units, if it has a baler, conveyor system, shredding machine. So we are only going to build on the existing system and not going to build anything from scratch for this project, as this is going to be a pilot project for UBA. So please look out for willingness from the village panchayat, infrastructure availability, and if there is any collection system and segregation system in place. And once you have that boxes checked, you can go deep dive and then get the quantification of different recyclables that each village would be getting. So I have segregated what kind of plastics or recyclables that a village can get in a day, and typical tonnage in which it is picked up by the recycler, and then a price at which it can be sold. So you have to do this assessment for your own village that is adopted, and then come up with the cost estimate, like return on investment from this project and the typical storage area that is required. So you have to go and check again with the panchayat for this village. This is the kind of storage that might be required. If the existing facilities are sufficient, or should we build on it, or and sustenance, right? So we have to look at if the returns from this project is right enough to maintain it for a longer time. Like if it covers the operational expenses, if it covers the additional manpower required in sorting and baling, and if it is going to give back the panchayat 40 to 60%. That's a nominal number for the success of this project. Yeah. We would also be circulating a guideline document on how you should be going about this. This guideline document has to be attached as a supporting document in your proposal submission portal for further evaluation. And what we from IIT Madras can do for this project along with you is we can hold a 2-day training sessions for the PIs along with the Panchayat representative to handhold you on how to establish this model and what are the dynamics involved, how do you segregate the waste, what kind of waste should be segregated, and what fetches you the most value. How do you go about 100% segregation, and an application interface to get the data logged in every day so that everything is on the internet, and then we can, if there is a hiccup, then we can go about and troubleshoot the problem on the ground. And also, once we have pulled up the dry waste and we are able to achieve 100% segregation, we should be identifying a recycler to take in that waste. So we can help you with that effort along with the garbage bank and other organizations we are tied up. Yeah, so that's all from us. If you have any questions, we are open. You can unmute yourself. Yeah, I see few raised hands. Can you unmute yourself? Can you please ping in the chat box? Not enabled. Aishwarya, can you help me unmute all the participants? I'm not able to unmute them. I see a question from Karuna Murthy, minimum capital needed for this project. It's only the infrastructure, one baling machine and a storage space. Storage space would depend upon your recyclables that are coming in. And that should be taken care by the panchayat because land and infrastructure is panchayat. Only baling machine is required and some manpower to keep it going, to sort it into different kinds. Yes. I see a question from ma'am, can the project related to plastic waste and agriculture project is quantum and awareness kindly submitted? So for this year, we are only accepting the proposals on garbage bank, and we encourage all of you to venture into the villages and do an assessment and submit.